The title of this writing is Interpretation. Truth be told, I don't like interpretation. I like on and off and black and white. The trouble I run into is that most of my life doesn't fit into those neat little boxes. There always seems to be lots of interpretation. The interpretation comes from other people. And unless you're a hermit, other people are part of your life, and you'll experience tons of interpretation about you and what you say. What you say or do is going to go through others' filters and will come out differently for them than it does for you. That's a black and white fact. Have you ever unintentionally offended someone and then apologized with something like, "My intention wasn't to offend you"? That's interpretation at work. When I studied neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, one of the biggest wrestling matches I had was with one of their main concepts, which is, the meaning of the communication is the response that you get. I couldn't wrap my head around that what I meant wasn't being communicated. When something is interpreted, you cannot stick to your guns and say or do the same thing over again, or you'll set up the framework for a never-ending argument. You won't be communicating. It'll be like repeating something to a foreigner who doesn't speak your language, only you say it louder the second time. The middle ground for meaning and interpretation is sensory acuity. That means you have to pay attention to how you're being received. That means to pay attention to the feedback coming to you through your senses. Sensory acuity will immediately let you know if your meaning is getting through or being interpreted. Once you have the sensory feedback, you can pivot to another angle of approach if necessary. My experience is the biggest communication roadblocks come from not paying attention to how you're being received. The tendency is to say what you're going to say and figure that others know exactly what you mean. That's almost never the case. There's lots of interpretation. By paying attention to how you're being received, you have the sensory evidence that will allow you to move forward on the same track or switch to another. It simply means to get your attention off you and onto another. If you keep all your attention on you, you'll miss the clues that allow a communication to move forward. I wish I could communicate without interpretation, but precious little would be communicated if I don't pay attention. All the best, John.